going on, Jerome's? So at an undisclosed location, but pre-recorded a little bit of hashtag content because even though it's summer, like I can't wait for football, really, and just like on social medias, NFL is just like doing like clips and highlight packages and stuff. Plus, so the NFL account put out a compilation of Travis Taylor highlights. The infamous Travis Taylor of the Ravens and the Vikings, among other teams. But I was just saying, like, man, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to highlights. But then I get it. Travis, Kelsey, Taylor, Swift. I see what they're doing. I like the social media teams got jokes. But a great one that they put out was 25 plays of Randy Moss's career, top 25. He was truly unstoppable. And so there's a video on YouTube where it's like a 40-minute video of just all of his touchdowns. And Randy Moss, I understand that Randy Moss came into the NFL at a time that's very formative for my sports memories because I was 11, 12 when he came into the league, and it's in like your teens. Like, that's when sports cements. That's when, like, back in my day, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with music. Same thing with movies to a degree. But, I mean, Randy Moss, just watching back some of the highlights, and he truly was an unstoppable force that the league hadn't seen until then. And I don't think that we've seen it since. So don't get me wrong. Randy Moss can run a full route tree. But just in terms of the singular weapon of, hey, he's going to run past your defense and he's going to jump and go get the ball. We've never seen that. And yeah, there's been some great deep ball specialists throughout our time. You're looking at Tyreek Hill. You're looking at Lance Allworth back in the day. Fully get it. But in terms of a singular dominant force, like, we have never seen. He really was a one of one. And there has been some fantastic receivers come through the league after Randy Moss. You're looking at A.J. Green and Megatron and Julio Jones and, of course, Justin friggin' Jefferson. Not one of them, and I say this with a lot of trepidation, not one of them matches up with the singular domination of Randy Moss. He's the greatest receiver of all time. Hands down. But I still won't put him on the Mount Rushmore because CC was here longer. But it's our argument for another day. But it's just insane, isn't it? Anyways, something's not insane is the Vikings running game getting back on its horse this year, and Aaron Jones is going to be a major part of that. So there's still tread left on the tire, even though Jones has had health issues in the past. But his final 5 games with the greasy grimy Green Bay Packers, all 100+ yards, 6 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys. And not only is he very adept in outside zone, not only is he very adept at running against light or heavy boxes, not only is he a great receiver, I think that he has a chance to be really special in this Vikings offense. The Vikings want to run the ball more. Jones is very adept at that. He's a good pass protector as well. That's certainly going to help things out with the offensive line and the quarterbacks, whoever it is. So, I mean, Jones truly is an X factor. And PFF listed him as the Vikings' number 1 X factor heading into 2024, and I believe it. Some I also believe. So you can never have enough pass rushers, as Brian Flores has said. Well, he also said cornerbacks too. But a name that's been bandied about is Emanuel Ogbah, and Vikes fan page put this together, where basically Ogbah, who's north of 30 but still has some gas left in the tank. 2 seasons with Flores, 2020 and 2021, he had 2 fantastic seasons, 60+ pressures as well as 9+ sacks in each season. Now, it's been interesting with Flores because there hasn't been a ton of Flores guys following him to Minnesota, whether it's coaches or players. Now, the only notable exception is Andrew Van Ginkel, but I mean, it's kind of weird, isn't it? But with Ogbah, I mean, the Vikings are actually kind of good at edge rusher. AVG, Grenard, Turner, Carter and Patrick Jones, Gabe Murphy, Jahad Ward can also rush from the edge. So, I mean, the Vikings are kind of good, but he is a name to keep in the Rolodex, for lack of a modern term. But he's a guy that still floats out there, and the Vikings need to supplement the pass rush mid-season. Yeah, he's a guy that you could be calling. And also, Speaking of calling, so Purple Persuasion put this together. Alcos, the Athletic, did up top 10 free agents that they could pursue since the Vikings still have 26-27 million in cap this year. Hunter Renfrow. So he's a weird case. I mean, the dude was literally a Pro Bowler, and then he just like disappeared. Actually, I think he was second team All Pro. It's crazy. And then there's a couple of cornerbacks. So Adoree Jackson, J.C. Jackson. J.C.'s not really stylistically a fit for what the Vikings want to do. A lot more press man, even though he does have experience with Flores. Xavier Howard, I mean, for a couple reasons, that's not going to happen. Jerry Jacobs is out there too. Cam Akers, I would feel perfectly fine bringing him in. Russell Gage, Ogbah's listed. Tyus Bowser, former Raven. Jamal Agnew. So, there's not a lot out there. Like, honestly, it would have been fantastic if they could have landed Calais Campbell, but that just sort of is what it is. He just wanted to go home to Miami. But, yeah, there isn't really a ton out there that really moves the needle. Like, even Renfrow, for me, like, he's fine. He's a slot machine. Doesn't really run block, but, but there's still certainly names out there. But next, so this is interesting. So I don't profess to be extremely knowledgeable about the politics of stadium financing and all that stuff, but I thought this was interesting. So around the NFL, Charlotte City Council approves $800 million renovation plan for Panthers Bank of America Stadium. So BOFA is getting a facelift, and I understand that the dynamics are weird, where you have billionaire owners getting getting stadiums paid for by the taxpayers and blah, blah, blah. So, again, that's a whole kettle of fish that don't really need to go into. I know a lot of people have very, very emotional stances with it, and rightfully so, right? But is it like city council? Like, how many people are on the city council? Like 5 or 7 people? So they can just approve like almost $1 billion. I feel like this is something that should be voted on by the people. Put it out to you, the people. Also, if the city's funding it, how come they don't get like a major piece? How come they just get like a lease payment and the team just keeps everything? It's kind of weird, isn't it? But I understand, because I remember it from like the Red McCombs days as owner of the Vikings. Well, if you don't pay for it, we'll just move. Okay. And then whatever city they move to is going to pay for it. So I sort of understand the dynamics, but it's sort of weird. But also, you think that they would do this for a better team. What's wrong with BOFA? I don't get it. Something I do get, though. Case Keenum and Stephon Diggs will be linked forever. Just an amazing moment in time. And now they're teammates yet again. They were teammates in Buffalo for a hot second, too, but now their teammates reunite again. Keenum back in Houston, where he played his college ball. The pride of Abilene, Texas, is back in the Lone Star State as a backup for C.J. Stroud. And Stephon Diggs is now a Texan, too. And Keenum, talking about Stephon Diggs, quote, "He hasn't lost a step." Well, he never had a step, so if anything, he has gotten more savviness and can put some extra sauce on some routes when he needs to and win. And like I said, Case Keenum definitely knows Stephon Diggs. It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat, the relationship they have, because just imagine being linked to someone forever for a very famous moment. It's kind of cool, man. Now, I'm obviously not wishing injury on C.J. Stroud, but if Keenum and Diggs, again, if the NFL actually is scripted, like maybe C.J. Stroud will have a hangnail and he'll be out the game that the Vikings host the Houston Texans. What week is that? Oh, it's early. So week 3. And then all of a sudden it's, bow, that's Case Keenum's music with Stephon Diggs. And they have to try and recreate Buffalo right 7 heaven to try and win the game, except Beasley picks it off because he isn't Williams and he actually remembers his responsibilities. Yeah, it's funny, man. Lastly, so I know that we're merely we're 34 days away, 35 days away from the Hall of Fame game, Bears and Texans. It's kind of funny, man. But we are desperately close to football. But I'm also a college football fan, so even though I'm a quasi USC and quasi Texas fan, I like college football because I basically just get to float around and be a free agent and just enjoy the games as opposed to just being dogmatic and just being ingrained with one team. There's nothing like college football. NFL is great, don't get me wrong, but just the raw passion and emotion of college football is just fantastic. It's just really, really good. And Also, I mean, it comes a couple weeks ahead of the NFL schedule, so we need it. Just like put it in the vein. Let's go, man. But that's it. Randy Moss is good. Thursday. What day is it? Wednesday. Vikings news up. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skull production value.